It's a Texas weather discussion video for Friday, the 12th of July. I'm Donovan Neal. Expect a little slight drop of temperatures this Friday and as the weekend begins, but then humidity and temperatures increase back up. Dog days of summer for most of next week, and all eyes are on Tropical Storm Barry in the Gulf. So here's the upper mirror map across continental United States. You can see the main mid-latitude westerly to the northeast of us, and of course, Tropical Storm Barry will actually pull itself to that set trough, and we have that upper high in the west. And of course, temperatures this morning are in the mid upper 70s to even low 80s in Arlington this morning. We'll already see temperatures in the mid 90s later this afternoon with lower humidity, so it'll feel less hot. And across the watch warning map, we have of course we have a smorgasbord of watches and warnings for parts of the coast. We have flash flood watches in effect for parts of Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and parts of Louisiana. We've got a hurricane warning from Intracoastal City to Grand Isle, and we have a tropical storm warning in effect for parts of the mouth of the Pearl River to the Grand Isle and Lake Parnatchon to Lake Maurepas, including the metropolitan New Orleans area and Intracoastal City to Cameron. We have a storm surge warning in effect for Intracoastal City to Shell Beach. We have a storm surge watch in effect for Shell Beach to the Mississippi-Alabama border, and we still have a hurricane watch in effect for the mouth of the Mississippi River to the Grand Isle, Intracoastal City to Cameron. And we have a tropical storm watch for east of the mouth of the Pearl River to the Mississippi-Alabama border. And now, these are the convective outlooks. We have that standard slight risk of severe storms for where Barry is expected to impact. And the reason why this is a slight risk of severe storms is that's the area where they could see a few brief isolated tornadoes or water spouts from this storm. This always happens with tropical storm systems. You can always see the possibility of a brief isolated tornado from this thing. Same thing on day 2, a marginal risk for that area covering much of Louisiana and much of parts of southern Mississippi. And on day 3, marginal risk of severe storms for parts of the Arklamas region where they could see some brief isolated tornadoes from this thing. And let's take a look at Tropical Storm Barry from the Gulf this morning. You can see tropical storm, a little bit disorganized. I seriously doubt this thing becomes a hurricane because it's fighting a lot of northerly shear and much of some dry air from the west. And of course, the NHC had this becoming a hurricane, but now it's only expected to become a tropical storm. Maximum sustained winds still at 50 miles an hour, so still a middle end tropical storm is still expected to impact the Louisiana coast by sometime during the day Saturday. And of course, it curves right into much of the heart of Louisiana, and then curve right into the northwest with time. This is the modeling output. Modeling still a little iffy on the track, still out to the east, still a little more to the east than the NHC track, but it's becoming in a better agreement overall. And I think the NHC might shift that track just a few miles to the east to compensate for that disagreement. And here's the output from Tropical Storm Barry, the rainfall output from WPC. You can see the bullseye is between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, where they could see up to 2 feet of rain from this thing. And of course, that would mean some significant flooding to the flooding for parts of New Orleans for that area, and that's not a good sign. But most places around Mississippi and Louisiana could actually see up to anywhere from 6 inches to at least a feet of rain from this thing. And of course, surrounding areas could see up to 2 to 6 inches of rain from the tropical storm. And this is the excessive rainfall outlook. You can see much of the Baton Rouge, New Orleans area down to the south under a high risk for flash flooding. And of course, that's, like I said before, that's not good with the already flood water from New Orleans with that storm system moving through earlier this week. So that's not good for them. So let's take a look at modeling here. This is the this is the GFS. This is the 0Z run valve this afternoon at 4 o'clock local time at 500 millibars, around 18,000 feet off the ground. You can see we have that troughing in the south, in the Gulf. That's Tropical Storm Barry, and of course it's still hugging the Louisiana coast at this point. And like I said, North Texas, we stay dry for a while. Highs mostly in the mid 90s. And now here is Saturday morning. This is Saturday at 4 p.m. Sorry. You can see the system really barely even moves much. And if I were to verify, that would just dump heavy rain for New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Louisiana coast for hours on end. And of course, that would not be good in terms of flash flooding. Now, this is a Sunday. You can see it makes some really great progression to the northeast. And of course, most of the rain's at that point still near the Mississippi-Alabama border. This is Monday of next week. Tropical depression Barry at that point still pretty much a remnant low, but still producing some beneficial rains for parts of the deep south. And for much of Texas, we stay dry with highs in the upper 80s. We might see 100-degree weather later next week. This is Tuesday. Our really weather doesn't change much. This is Wednesday. This is Thursday. And this is a week from today, Friday the 19th of July. You can see we have ridging starting to begin in the nation's heartland. And of course, down here, we pretty much stay dry. I think with highs in the upper 90s to low 100s at this point. We're beginning to go into the dog days of summer. And this is the end of the 10-day forecast period. This is Sunday the 19th. You can see still ridging in the nation's heartland. And then we stay dry down here. And this is the QPFs coming off the European. You can see that the green line still has us below a quarter of an inch of rain for much of the DFW Metroplex, and I think that's about right. I think most places stay dry next week. And for the numbers, we catch a little bit of a break this weekend with slightly lower temperatures and lower humidity through Sunday. And of course, once we kick back with next week, highs pretty much in the upper 90s to low 100 degrees. And for that, and then we could see a little bit of a decline by late July at that point. But expect dog days of summer for much of next week. That's it for the Texas weather discussion video for today. I'm Notes in the blog. My next video will be posted at around 7 a.m. Monday morning. If you can't catch local TV stations on the air this afternoon at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and a great weekend, and Godspeed.